This is everything you get in the light except for Mr. Man. That's Princeton. The problem with me shooting a video on the fly is about 8 pounds in orange. So he doesn't come with the light, but he's going to be part of the video. When you open your black zipper bag, you will find there's a Ziploc bag with a piece of paper, which are the instructions. Most people think they're Lego masters and are looking for a cat toy. Anyways, I'm going to go over everything you need to do, so if you have any bad habits, most likely will have come from me. You have a flotation with stainless steel endings. One has a washer, one side does not. I prefer the washer to be the top because it takes the most force, and eventually these corks can break down, so this is why we included the washer. So when I say the top of the light, I literally mean the top. The top being the rounded hardware on the light, this being the bottom, washer, upright. Go ahead and attach this split ring to the top of the light, washer up. Okay, washer on the top, beautiful. Now, because I did another video and the camera was at a bad angle, I had to start it over, so I didn't want to keep reopening this split ring or it would be bent beyond. So the other thing in your package is a split ring with a 2-ounce weight on it and a long line branch clip. All you need to do is take that stainless steel ring and thread it on the bottom hook. So I didn't want to take it off and put it on because it takes some maneuvering, but just open this up and thread it through that little hole and you're good to go. So at the end you have this attached, you have the floaty attached, washer side up, you're ready to go. So all your attachments are in place. Sometimes people accidentally put this up here and here down there. No, no. The bottom of a light has a multi-cord ending. The beautiful thing is, should these ever get really bad and you run out of wire, whatever, you can always contact us. And the replacements are simply plug them back together, screw the cap hand tight, no tools, and they're instantly replaced. Because we understand that people do not, or they're intimidated by changing clips because they don't know how to solder. It's really, you really need to do that if you're actually replacing them. Now these are not solid copper. They're a form of stainless steel, but they're not the highest grade. And normally the springs are not. So a little electrical grease coating everything really well, including the spring, will make these last quite a while. And try not to step on them. You know, we all do it, but try not to. The button. This was a huge change, and this is patent pending. We've already been awarded 2 patents on this light. We have several pending. Is the button's right here. And this is a really confusing button to some because it looks like something you've never seen before. But what we do know is stainless steel could not stand the test of time in salt water, no matter what. And we just assumed back in 2015-16 when we manufactured the first run that stainless, good stainless, would be bulletproof, and that's not the case. I wanted to give you a close-up of the button. We also refer to it as the silicone button. There's the pin, very small. It's about the thickness of lead in a mechanical pencil. The reed is underneath. You have to go straight up and down and strike that reed, which is under this red shrink wrap. It's a cylinder about this long. You can see it right here and poking out on that side. It runs about an inch long. This must strike the reed. If you push it this way or this way, this pin is not striking this reed, therefore it will not fire up the light. Let's get nerdy for a second. This is some materials that are inside the light. This is the reed that is under the button right there. The button, when it's on the light like this, must strike straight down and make contact with the reed, which is underneath the button. The cool thing is, if this is ripped off, any old household magnet, if it touches the reed, will also switch the modes. So you're not totally screwed if this breaks off. You should always have a little spare magnet on board your boat. And like me, dropped it. With my luck, it probably would have gone in the water. This, just striking the reed through the shrink wrap, will change the modes. Any magnet. Take one of your kids' magnetic alphabet letters, something. But this is the science behind the button, the magnetic silicone button. Because you've attached your light via a zip tie to the battery, do not, and I mean do not, tie the rope to the cleat. There was a time where we had to change how people deployed their light, but that was temporary and we resolved the issues. We want you to zip tie your light to your battery or to your cleat or somewhere so this doesn't go over the sides of your boat. But never, ever tie this rope to anything, nothing, except to the base of that light. Again, only tie the rope to the base of the light, never to the boat cleat. The other open end of the button don't concern you when you see the wires. It's waterproof. Water's not going to do anything to those wires. Don't worry about that. That thinking comes from years ago when this would have been a big problem. It isn't. Not now. So that's our magnetic button, and it's really pretty cool. It's pretty resilient if you step on it, and you know people are rough with it. We had to take this in account because I've been a shrimper for decades and I know exactly what we do. And that kind of helped me guide what I needed to build into my light, you know, just from years of experience. So this is a very intimidating thing, but it actually is a cool little guy. Great little button. Now, never, ever, ever, ever attach your weight to the top of this light. Do not ever, ever, ever directly attach a weight to the lower part. We've had about 4 cases of the bottom totally broken out, and after some discussion we've learned that people have misfired their weight, they got stuck and they tried to unjam it, or they actually hooked their weight here. Be careful. I do not want you to attach any weight that's greater than 7 pounds. We've had people attach Navy anchors. No, no, no. Because if you misfire that, this takes a lot of torque and a lot of tension, you'll break the bottom of the light out. And that's not under warranty if you break the bottom of the light out. Because when this light changed hands, this was intact. When it got into your hands, something happened. And believe me, this is in there. And there's no defect here. And don't put the weight here. So be careful. You know, I mean, just because I ran my truck over this light doesn't mean you have this swirlway of opportunities where you can attach the Empire State Building. When it breaks, come crying back to me, well, you ran your truck over, so you should have been able to handle it. I'm telling you, how you see me do this video is how this likes to be set up, and should you deviate, you run the risk of violating your own warranty. Now, I'll go over the modes in a second. This is the rope. This is crab pot line, and the reason it's known as crab pot line is because it's got a lead strand in it. And the reason for that is if there's any extra line in the water, it sinks to the bottom of the river. Should you go to Walmart and use a 3/8 rope that has a foam core center, it'll float in the water column and the shrimp will bounce off of it. And it could cost you shrimp. Just make sure you get sinking line. Okay, what do I do? How do I do it? Well, on the knot, I don't know what the heck knot it is, but what I do is I go around 3 times. 1, 2, it's got memory on it, 3. Now when I'm under, I go through the loop and through this loop. I hold on to the little tail. This is the short side, that's the tail. And this is the long piece, and I pull on the long piece and push down, and that cinches the rope. And then I zip tie those 2 together. And then this will not give. And the more tension it has on it, the tighter this knot gets. So you don't ever have to worry about this knot fail. I've never had this knot fail on me. So that's the knot that I use at the bottom with the weight. Hopefully a little closer view of this knot situation. This is leaded pot line so that the what's not used sinks to the bottom of the river. You go through the shackle, pull out maybe 1.5 to 2 feet, go around 3 times. 1, 2, 3. Go under the loop, under the loop, hold the tail, pull the long rope, and then you can just kind of pull on them both until they're kind of tight. And then use zip lock, cut off whatever you don't need, etc. And there you go. The more tension on this knot, the more it cinches it tighter and tighter. It's just a fail-proof knot. We're now going to do the same knot at the bottom through this split ring. Now again, the split ring you have is a little bigger than this one, but again, I'm making this video on the fly here, and this ending is pretty shot, but I can make it work. So again, pull a generous amount out. Well, that's a little too generous. And I usually grab it about there. So again, sorry for my hands being in the way. 1, 2, 3, under, under, then you just kind of pull them both, zip tie it, you're done. Okay, that's all the attachments, etc. You do have a piece of paper, and we're going to go over those things on the paper. Is an application of the long line clip. A lot of people sometimes like to press on it and thread their rope through there. The problem with that is the rope can be easily pulled, so it's not going to hold its position. It's supposed to come in the front and come in here, and this locks it in place. This is what that looks like. If you do this, it slips. If you do this, it grabs. So put it on the inside in here and let this be the locking mechanism to hold it. This, again, I want it right through here, so this locks it up. I tend to buy batteries that have these handles. This is a little tractor battery, but I can run 2 lights on this for, since I shrimp tidal, 6 hours or more, and it's only used half the power. I don't have any longer zip ties, but no less than this, but ideally a stronger one would be better. When I'm on my boat, I simply take my line and I will attach it to my handle so that this button can't slide out of it. That way, when I deploy and I'm feeding all this line out into the water, my batteries, and this happens, you know, when people are hooked up and they don't do what I did with the zip tie right there. When they deploy the light, sometimes the throw is so powerful, blah 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 blah, boop, they've lost their light in the water and bye-bye. So a simple little stopper right there, that will save your light. Highly recommend it. And of course, bring something so that you can remove that, some kind of nips. Now of course, salt water, they're going to corrode, so something to cut that. And don't do it tight, because cable ties on these cords would chafe the cord and can over time breach the cord and let water in. So be very, very loving to this cord. And you should always check for nicks so that you can do some maintenance with liquid tape or electrical tape or something and short up. You should always inspect your gear for damage. And if you have any questions, always call me. Call Jan first, and she can't answer it, I will. I personally do not care if you want to remove these alligator clips, because I do, so I understand that. And I'm not going to remove the warranty because you did so. But if you burn up your light because you did so, trust me, I'll know, and we'll take it from there. So if you want to cut these off and put those rings on so you can feed them down those adapter screws or whatever, go ahead. I'm okay with that, but I sure hope you have the skills. And if you do decide to take these clips off and put new endings on, you better be good at soldering and coat every piece of copper, because any kind of surge in water and burn this light up, I'm coming for you. So don't do this unless you totally are comfortable doing it. The button will cycle you through 7 modes. Depending on what model you have, it might only be 5 modes or 8 modes if I bring out a new light in 2021-22, or the 7 mode. So don't get caught up on how many modes, because I don't know the age of this video at the time you're seeing it. But I'm going to go with the recent release of 7 modes. And you cycle by simply depressing this button where the reed and the pin are striking. The 7 modes are, the first one that you'll get defaults to the one that 90% of the time you'll use. And it is the full mode, where the green and the white are illuminated at full power. That's the most popular. Why do we have green? Why do we have white? First of all, the shrimp don't like either one. They don't even like the light from a full moon. So clearly, the color has to do with the human eye being able to tolerate staring at a light field for 6+ hours. If it were all white, I guarantee you're going to be pretty irritable and crabby in an hour. The green is extremely soothing to the color cones in the back of your eye. Combining it with a weaker white light, the hue is still of a green color, so it's still not offensive, But the extra little bit of white boost allows for vertical depth that you can see much deeper. So it's just, I tried to give you depth without upsetting the irritability factor, and it's still green so that it's soothing. So a steady burn, full power is the first mode. The second mode is green only. Well, when would you use that? Sometimes the water is really, really sandy and gritty. If you're real close to one of the cuts, in, for example, Mosquito Lagoon, and if you're in a ripping moon event, the outgoing stirs up a lot of sand, and there could be a glare. So if you drop the white out, it is a darker hue, and Miss Chrissy, that's our other kitty, is going to help us out, and it'll be more, let's say, easier on the eyes. It's a deeper hue. The glare is annoying and it's disturbing and distracting. So you'll know it when you see it because you're going to be disturbed and distracted. The third mode is all white only. This is kind of a fun mode because this is the first mode that's tactical, meaning you do not have to use this light in water to use this mode. So you can use it on dry land. You can use it to change the bearing of your trailer and just take this 33-foot cord and hook it to your car battery, and you can use it as a hurricane lamp. Just remember that this metal frame dissipates the heat, and this could heat up, so be careful about it. It will burn you when it gets hot. So we gave you a light because the problems with the boater start when you pull out of your driveway. And if your problems and you blow a tire or something happens on your way back from a shrimping night, chances are all your batteries are pretty close to dead in your boat. And any kind of a headlight situation may not be working so well anymore. You burned up those batteries as well. This is a great little alternative emergency tool available that you can hook right to your car battery. And the 33-foot cord will allow you to get the light to the part of the vehicle, hopefully your boat, that you need. So you will not burn this light up using it out of water. And another reason that I was inclined to develop this smart light is because more and more people are doing combination sports. For example, they want to kayak, they want to go shrimping that night, and then they want to go camping on a nearby clinker, a little small island out on the intercoastal. So this is where we are. So I wanted to develop a multi-facet light so that it can do everything with you, from the trailering and towing to the actual shrimp fishing to actually camping. So you can do everything with this light. So that's what the white mode's for. It absolutely is not strong enough to go gigging. It is under 1,000 lumens, and it's a great little work light. It's a great little, if you lose power light, it's a great little work light on the road if you have a problem. The fourth mode is the green and white, but the difference is it's half power. Now mode 1 is full power. Mode 4 is half power. Why would I do that? Don't you love that when that happens? Why did I go half power? The reason is people that are on piers, example Titusville Pier, they have a really shallow part near the seawall that used to be referred to as the Cracker Jack wall, but they're no longer there. All the way out to, I guess, 12 feet deep on to the other part of the pier. And the thing is, if you have one strength light for all depths, you run into a problem when you hit shallow water. A light as powerful as this AquaSMart will be too strong. And let me repeat that. Too strong for shallow water under 7 feet. And this includes the cuts and the keys. So I had to come up with a way so that this light could go deep water, shallow water, depending where you are, where you're going. Because a lot of people want to take this light and go lobstering. A lot of people, I mean, who knows what you're going to do with it, because it just lends itself to so many applications. So I cut power in half, and I did this for the pier people, so that if you should draw shallow grounds, which I don't blame you, I don't want to be by the seawall, you're not going to overpower and discourage the shrimp from entering your light field. So that's basically a pier function and a function for the keys and the cuts. The fifth mode is a high-powered strobe. This is the catfish weapon of choice to blast them away from your light. This is extremely tense, and if you have seizures, or for some reason you have problems, or problems occur with slot machines, or disco lights, or flashing construction, anything flashing, if it has any kind of adverse effect, do not use this mode. This high-powered, this is a full-on, full-power strobe set at a frequency. This is all patent pending, so that it will actually annoy the catfish, which, believe me, it takes a lot to annoy the catfish. And we finally hit the formula. So that's what this mode was for. It's a catfish repellent. Now, you can only do it for a couple minutes, and a person has to be down here by the button to control it while the other people on the boat are dipping. Maybe fire it up for a minute or two and then turn it off. Not because the light can handle it. The light can handle it all night long if you want to do it. It's just you guys can't handle looking at it. So do look away. If you're dipping up there, if you can, kind of look away and let those catfish bust up. Now, just as soon as that mode is cut off, they're going to work their way back. But in that time, from stopping the strobe to them coming back, you might have got some shrimp in the bucket. So you have to play inchworm sometimes. That's just part of the joy of it, the challenge of it all. So again, that's the catfish repellent. The sixth mode is the slow speed strobe. I love, love, love this one. It's not that I don't love the catfish one. I'm probably still stewing in the anger that I have to deal with these menace things, because there was a time in my shrimping career where we didn't ever see catfish all winter because the water was too cold and the bait fish weren't around because the water's too cold. And now, with our 4th year of a warm water winter, all these fish that are not supposed to be around have been around, and they just reproduce by the gazillions, and they are a problem to the point where it actually shuts the sport down. And I had to come up with something to fight back. So I was looking for like some kind of dynamite just to blast them away, and as soon as I said it, I went, oh, wait a minute, I think I could build that. And that kind of was the evolution of the strobe light. It's basically high frequency dynamite. The slow speed, however, will not deter catfish, but it's offensive to shrimp. Now, they're both offensive to shrimp, but the slow strobe is something that you can stare at a little longer. And I love to use it as my point light that I said, if we're looking at a watch at 12 o'clock, I'll sink this light 2 foot from the bottom so I don't see any light from standing on my boat. And I will put it and keep it in this strobe mode the entire night. Yes, let's repeat that. The entire night. I'll set my other lights at 9 and 3. So they're 9, 12, and 3. The 12 one is just to run them to the top. In other words, when they're 30 yards out, they're going to mark that point light that's sitting on the bottom, strobing. And they're going to panic, and they're going to start climbing up the water column towards the surface to get above the light. And they will in 5 feet. But the problem is, once they get up 5 feet closer to the surface and they think they're safe, they're still too deep for you to see. Well, this is when they run into your 9 o'clock and your 3 o'clock lights. And that's going to force them to go another 5 feet. And voila, they're in the top 3 foot of that water column, which is your visuals for dipping. You can see them, they cannot see you. They're above your lights, by the way. Even though you can see them and you can count their legs and the hairs on their body if they had it, you swear to God they can see you, they can't. And I have stuck a GoPro in that water a million times and it comes back totally black because they're above your lights. And these lights don't shine straight to the top. The light shines outward. So they get above the light, and as soon as it's black water, they're happy. And they don't feel any kind of threat lies ahead. But because they're backlit, you see them, they don't see you. So the slow speed is basically a shrimp boiler. It won't offend them. It won't make them dive or jump or change course. It'll force them to start ascending towards the top of the water column. And the name of the game is to get them so that you can see them, so that you can dip them. Otherwise, you don't really need that mode. The last one is the 7th mode. That is the slow strobe at half power. Why did I do that? For my pier people and my people that don't have a boat that are in shallower water under 7 feet. So they also can benefit from the strobe and play with it and see how it works for them. So to be honest with you, the green and white at half power, which is mode 4, you can use out of the water technically, as well as the half power strobe. You can use it out of water technically. But I'm going to say for warranty purposes, just use the white, but either one, you're not going to burn the light up. The clarity can be compromised easily, day by day, minute by minute. So I always throw my lights at least 3 times. The first time is the depth -8 formula. And one of the biggest mistakes people make when they set their lights is they don't give any thought to the fact that as the tide goes out, the water level is going to drop. So when you set your lights, you kind of have to allow for that, or 3 hours, you're not going to see shrimp anymore because the water's gone down so low that your lights are sitting too high in the water column. Like if this is the water column, the shrimp can't, there's nowhere for them to go above your light but below the water line and travel. That's where they like to travel. So if they don't have any space to travel, then they're going to go under the light. So to you, the shrimp stop running, you go home. But their first clue should be that people are still dipping, so no, they didn't stop running. So my point is this. Depth -8 might be your first toss, but it's not going to be your last one, because if you can still see, then I want you to pull your light in, and I want you to lower your clip down further towards the weight. Throw it again. If you still can see really, really good, I want you to throw it again. Adjust it and throw it again. The point is this. I want you to start off and dip in the darkest light field in tidal water only. If it's tidal. And I want you to set it in the darkest light field that you can see in, knowing as the water goes out, it's going to get brighter and you will not have to reset your lights, because resetting your lights halfway through on a strong current is impossible. You've lost control of the light. That's why we never want to reset our lights when the tide has its teeth. So the point is you only have to strain a little bit at the beginning, which is usually the slower time, and let the water start going out. And as it goes out, I guarantee you'll forget that you did that because you'll be having so much fun. But when the water gets at its lowest, you will not be compromised, because you set your lights at the beginning as low as you could possibly see, meaning you can see things and mark them, like that's a piece of grass, that's a bait fish, that's a shrimp, that's a leaf, that's a cigarette butt. If you can see things that clear, then go down just a half or 2 inches more down your rope. I mean, just inchworm. And it will pay off in spades mid-tide when you hear everybody kerplunking out there. And you don't have to do it, because your light field is paying off, you're dipping in a frenzy, and you're good the whole 6 hours in tidal water. This is a quick picture of a perfect light set when you're standing on your boat. You want to throw the light away from your boat so that the circle of green grazes your hull. Never have any unlit water right there because you'll lose your shrimp in there. So this circle has to touch your boat to make sure that that doesn't happen, and you have to overlap both lights so there's no dark spot between them, which the shrimp will source and escape you. This is perfect. This is a case of the lights were not thrown out far enough, or the tide brought them back towards your boat, and you're losing half your light field under your boat, which is kind of a waste of your light field. This is a common problem when the formulas didn't go right or something, but this is the top of the water, and if the light is too close to the actual top of the water, there's not enough space for the shrimp to pass over your light because this water is lit, and shrimp don't like light, so they go down to the darkest part of the water column, which is down here, and they actually go under your light. Shrimp will not willingly swim through a light field. This is a perfect light set. This is the illumination where the amount of water lit up vertically is about 5 feet. This is about maybe 15 to 18 foot long, depending on the clarity of the water. The depth -8 formula decided this is where the light was clipped. And this is all black, unlit water. Black is the ace of spades. How do I know? Because I've stuck a GoPro in it from the top of the boat, and it's black as heck. So this is lit up and is green in color. This 2 to 3 foot area is black. And when they hit this light, they're going to rise to the darkest part of the water column, which is here, and they're going to swim right on through, feeling very secure and not nervous, nor will they feel threatened. They don't see you, but you see them because this is backlit behind them, so that's what allows you to see them. Never ever not give black water because it has to be with 0 light. Black water is 0 light. 0. They need that. When I talked about the beginning of your night, when the tide goes out, the level of the water is going to drop. If this is a perfect light set during high tide, you have a problem. When that water goes out and falls, your light gets closer and closer to the top water line. Around the 3rd hour, the shrimp run could fatally end for you for that reason. It's simply a lighting issue. Redeploying halfway through a tide is frustrating because the current is going to blow your lights back to the boat. When you set them at the high tide, it was at a very weak part of the current, and you were able to place your lights strategically and perfectly. Trying to accomplish that again mid-tide at the 3-hour mark, good luck. So this is what's critical about setting your lights. I devoted a whole seminar on lighting strategy. Go to leenoga.com. You have enough to get started with your brand new light. You just got to be comfortable and familiar doing it. You're going to make mistakes. Believe me, we still do. That's the way it is. But hopefully not fail enough to take the smile off your face when you have all that bucket of meat. Hopefully you can see the contrast between the heavily yellowed light and this other light. These are failed lights that I kept, so they both are used, but you can definitely tell one person took great care of their lights and somebody did not. The days of just leaving your lights on the boat in a 5-gallon pail until the next time doesn't work with this technology. This is acrylic and not PVC. If this light is subjected to just random indoor light, outside UV light, it will yellow. This is why your light came in a bag. It wasn't just to make it look pretty. It has a function, and if you do nothing else but just put the lamp in the bag and let the cord hang out, that's great, because it doesn't matter if the cord gets sunlight or not. Just take 2 seconds when you wipe it down, dry it off, stick the lamp in the zipper bag, and then you don't have to worry about it. A yellow light is not a warranty issue. It will not be replaced because you neglected your light. If this is going to be used anywhere but darkness, then you can't help that, and you're willing to accept some yellowing. I mean, does it affect performance? People never even notice. That's why they let their lights get yellow, because it's probably so subtle they didn't notice it. I don't know. I've never done that. So there's so much to tell when you first get these lights that little nuggets like this get away from us. But when you're done using it, please put it back in the zipper bag. Who cares if you don't want to put the cord in it? Just put the lamp back in this. That is not negotiable. You got to take care of these lights. And UV is a killer. One of the things I wanted to bring up on this video is I need to shoot one on the boat and actually show how to deploy this light. So we're just going to talk in theory. When you unravel this cord, 33 foot is 33 foot of total chaos. Another reason why I zip tie to the battery is with multiple people on the boat, it's inevitable that someone's going to kick a cord and detach all these connections, etc., so forth, because that's what happens at night. That's the reality of it. So when you're going to deploy this, there's a certain technique that I use, but for now the takeaway is you need to see where your feet are, and whoever is with you on your boat needs to assess your setup, how you're standing, and make sure that you're not hooked on a cleat or hung up on your trolling motor or accidentally looped around a nav light or something. Make sure your feet aren't stepping on anything. Make sure you're clear, because if you're not, and believe me, you're going to do it. I still do it. Not often, but I still do it. The last thing you want to do is when you sit there and toss this as far as you can, if this thing is snagged on something, this lead is going to snap back and fall into the water right by your boat. So that causes a tremendous strain on this attachment, that slapback, slingshot. You can break the bottom of your light. On that note, that is all the introduction Jan would have given you if we didn't have the coronavirus here. Hopefully I've helped you a little bit, and if there's any questions, call Jan at 386-334-4504. And again, remember now, she's one person. She's not robotic, even though I swear she is. She's overwhelmed trying to do all she can do, and God love her for that. Be patient. Text would probably work better. She is so phone responsible. Now, don't text me. I am not. I am the worst person with... I hate phones. So if I forget it, I think that's fabulous. I mean, I am really bad. Don't contact me. Contact her. Happy hunting. Get your bucket. And hopefully the next video I do will be a little more professional. But hopefully this gets the job done. Be well.